This is TWiT.
Okay, let's talk about Uber and Lyft. It's on and it's off. It's on again. I think they got an injunction. An appeals court has, for a while, Lyft said, we're leaving. Uber said, we're leaving California. The appeals court has now put on hold the requirement that the company, Lyft and Uber, treat their drivers as employees and not contract employees. Right. All of this comes from AB5, a very controversial bill from the California state legislature. Which
bill that's cost me a lot of money.
Yeah,
not as an employer, as a contractor. I've actually had to create an LLC so I could continue writing a weekly column for the Mercury News because they couldn't pay me as a freelancer anymore. So now I have to pay hundreds of dollars a year in extra fees that I wouldn't have had to pay otherwise to the state.
Devindra, do you have contractors in California? Do you have employees?
I don't know how it works for us, but I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of freelancer friends who are based in California and working in entertainment in Hollywood. And it's been a nightmare. And I honestly have no idea how California keeps pushing through this, even though everyone's saying you're killing freelancers by doing this. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the initial instinct here was to protect employees who are treated as contractors when they're really employees so that the company can avoid paying benefits. And I think it was particularly aimed at Uber and Lyft. Mm-hmm. But
it's a good impulse,
Yeah, but it had really unintended consequences against a lot of people in our business who want to be freelancers.
Right. And Facebook, and my son's a musician, and he hires musicians, so that's causing a real problem in that world as well. You hire a guy to do one session, you have to make an employee. I mean, that's kind of a nutty. And they may have made some exceptions. They made one exception with journalism, if you can write up to 35 times a year. But again, if you're writing a weekly column, then you've got to either become an employee or set up an LLC.
Those of us in California see pretty much constant advertising from Uber, Lyft, Instacart, and DoorDash because they have a ballot measure that's we're going to vote on November 3rd, Prop 22, that would create a third category of employment, which would include some benefits. There'd be a minimum wage, auto insurance, vehicle maintenance costs, a healthcare stipend. This is basically Uber and Lyft's response. Well, we want to keep these guys, but we want to create this category, and we'll kick in a little bit. They've spent now more than $110 million on the Yes on 22 campaign, and I've seen those ads. And the ads are heart-tugging. I'm a single mom, and the only way I can keep my kids, I want to be home for them when they're in school, but the only way I can keep our family afloat is to work on my schedule, and that's what DoorDash lets me do. I see these ads all the time. I will be shocked if 22 does not pass. Mm-hmm. We'll see. So Uber and Lyft get a little reprieve until this vote can happen.
But one thing I do want to say, though, is that one of the reasons why this bill got through is because big companies like Facebook and Google, and I think Apple, employ people who work for contractors and pay them less, give them fewer benefits, and they do exactly the same kind of work as regular employees do. So it's not as if there isn't a problem. I don't want to, suggest.
No, that's exactly right.
It's not well motivated.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's a lot of this in public radio land. Of people, and there all these sort of strange rules. The 1,000 hours. When I worked in New York at WNYC, there was 1,000 hours rule. But there's a lot of folks who are essentially contractors, but they're doing the same jobs as the folks who are not contractors, and the company just doesn't seal the deal with them and make them true employees and gets away with it. It's a problem.
It would have put John C. Dvorak out of work because he wrote, in fact, when I was working with him on the radio, he was very famously wrote a column a day for one journal or another. I mean, he wrote literally a column I don't think he wrote a whole lot of them, but a column a day. And he wasn't an employee of any of these places, but he made a very nice living doing that. And I don't see why somebody shouldn't be allowed to do that, but with some protections, I guess, against
another
predatory companies.
If you're a private contractor, you have certain tax advantages like office at home, the ability to write off your car. Right. Those go away when you become an employee. So again, I'm not saying that there wasn't a reason, but you really have to think of the unintended consequences of the jobs like this.
Well, not to mention you have to start paying, the company pays half your Social Security.
That's the good news.
That's the good news. Yeah.
but your tax benefit.
The other part of the problem exists, honestly. Really, this is a Band-Aid to cover the real big problem here, which is that most people in the United States get their health care through a job.
Yes.
As an employee. And so if you're a contractor, you don't have health care. And that's a big problem. We could solve this as Canada has, as Britain has, as every major developed nation in the world has.
Leo, we cannot get this country to wear masks. We're not. How hard is it going to be to get actual?
My friend Rene
Ritchie
it's awesome. He lives in Quebec, and he said, I want to stop working as an employee for iMore. I'd like to do my own thing on YouTube. And one of the key factors in his decision is I don't have to pay for health care because I'm in Quebec. I have nationalized health care. Mm-hmm. So I honestly think this is part of this is a symptom of a larger problem, which is that in America, your health care in most cases comes from your employer. And if you don't have an employer, you have to do it yourself. And that can be outrageously expensive.
It's also a problem with historic unemployment that we're going through right now. Think of all of the millions of people who, for no fault of their own, lost a job, and they are also going to lose their health care as a result of that.
Right.